Fellow citizens, for more than 2 months, protests arising from the Fugitive Offenders Bill have continued. Our citizens, police and reporters have been injured during violent incidents. There have been chaotic scenes at the airport and MTR stations. Roads and tunnels have been suddenly blocked, causing delay and inconvenience to daily life. Visitors wonder whether our city is still a safe place for travel or business. Families and friends have been under stress, and arguments have flared. We have also seen abuse and bullying in some schools and on the internet. For many people, Hong Kong has become an unfamiliar place. Incidents over these past 2 months have shocked and saddened Hong Kong people. We are all very anxious about Hong Kong, our home. We all hope to find a way out of the current impasse and unsettling times. Of the 5 demands raised by the public, we have in fact responded on various occasions. First, on withdrawing the bill. On June 15th, I announced that the bill was suspended and later reiterated that the bill is dead and that all the legislative work had come to a complete halt. Second, on setting up a commission of inquiry. The government believes that matters relating to police enforcement actions are best handled by the existing and well-established Independent Police Complaints Council, IPCC, which was set up for exactly this purpose. In addition to handling complaints against individual police officers, the IPCC has undertaken a fact-finding study under its powers on the handling of large-scale public order events that took place after June 9th. One focus will be the Yuen Long incident on July 21st, which attracted serious public concern. The study aims to ascertain the facts, to assess the police handling of protests, and to make recommendations to the government. The IPCC has established a panel of international experts to assist in its work and will make its findings and recommendations public. Third, on the matter of the protest being a riot, we have explained that in fact there is no legal effect on how such incidents are described or categorized. The Department of Justice has assured the public that each and every prosecution decision is based on the evidence collected and is in strict accordance with the relevant law and the prosecution code. Fourth, on dropping charges against protesters and rioters and shelving prosecutions. I have explained that this is contrary to the rule of law and is not acceptable. It also goes against the basic law, which states that criminal prosecutions must be handled by the Department of Justice, free from any interference. Fifth, on implementing universal suffrage. Indeed, this is the ultimate aim laid down in the Basic Law. As we said before, if we are to achieve this, discussions must be undertaken within the legal framework and is in an atmosphere that is conducive to mutual trust and understanding, and without further polarizing society. Our responses to the 5 demands have been made with full consideration of different constraints and circumstances. I recognize that these may not be able to address all the grievances of people in society. However, should we all think deeply whether escalating violence and disturbances is the answer, or whether it is better to sit down to find a way out through dialogue? Many would say that we need a common basis to start such a dialogue, and that this has to start with the Chief Executive. I now present 4 actions to initiate this dialogue. First, the government will formally withdraw the bill in order to fully allay public concerns. The Secretary for Security will move a motion according to the rules of procedure when the Legislative Council resumes. Second, we will fully support the work of the IPCC. In addition to the overseas experts, I have appointed 2 new members to the IPCC, namely Mrs. Helen Yu and Senior Counsel Mr. Paul Lam. I pledge that the government will seriously follow up the recommendations made in the IPCC's report. Third, from this month, I and my principal officials will reach out to the community to start a direct dialogue. People from all walks of life, with different stances and backgrounds, are invited to share their views and air their grievances. We must find ways to address the discontent in society and to look for solutions. Fourth, I will invite community leaders, professionals, and academics to independently examine and review society's deep-seated problems and to advise the government on finding solutions. After more than 2 months of social unrest, it is obvious to many that this contentment extends far beyond the bill. It covers political, economic, and social issues, including the oft-mentioned problems relating to housing and land supply, income distribution, social justice and mobility, and opportunities for our young people, as well as how the public could be fully engaged in government's decision-making. We can discuss all these issues in our new dialogue platform. Fellow citizens, lingering violence is damaging the very foundations of our society, especially the rule of law. Some people, though not many, attacked the central government's office in Hong Kong and vandalized the national flag and national emblem. This is a direct challenge to one country, 2 systems. Both have put Hong Kong in a highly vulnerable and dangerous situation. Irrespective of our grievances or the depth of discontentment towards the government, we cannot agree or accept that violence is a solution to our problems. Our foremost priority now is to end violence, to safeguard the rule of law, and to restore order and safety in society. As such, the government has to strictly enforce the law against all violent and illegal acts. My team and I hope that the 4 actions just announced can help our society to move forward. Let's replace conflicts with conversations, and let's look for solutions.
I will now recap the speech in English. Despite what Carrie Lam has said earlier today, we want the world to know the bill is not withdrawn. Do not be fooled again. Carrie Lam stated that the proposal for the bill's withdrawal would be raised in the legislature, also known as LegCo. However, LegCo will not be in session until October. Even more alarmingly, LegCo is not elected by the Hong Kong people and therefore consists mainly of pro-Beijing legislators. Hong Kongers can see right through Carrie Lam's lies. She wants a way to shift her responsibilities so that when the proposal is rejected by LegCo in October, she can say it is not her fault and then legitimately proceed with passing the bill. To our friends around the world, please do not think this government has backed down, because it certainly has not. It is just seeking to create confusion, attempting to distract and escape accountability. Please don't let them succeed. Even if the bill were fully withdrawn, the documentary Winter on Fire has this to say about Ukraine's fight for freedom. If we accept the government's conditions, our friends who have sacrificed their lives will never forgive us. The world will remember that we made our 5 demands deafeningly clear by storming into the Legislative Council. This was on the 1st of July. Today is the 4th of September. It has been more than 2 months before Carrie Lam has finally crawled out of her silence to respond to one and only one of our 5 demands, the withdrawal of the extradition bill. The Citizens' Press Conference would first like to reiterate, on the principle, 5 demands, not one less. If you scrape your knee, applying a Band-Aid onto the wound will be a quick fix. But if you don't do that, and even start rubbing dirty fingers onto the wound, what used to be a small, easily fixable injury will morph into an infection, then rotting flesh, and eventually amputation, or even death by sepsis. If Carrie Lam had withdrawn the bill 2 months ago, that may have been a quick fix. But applying a Band-Aid months later onto rotting flesh will simply not cut it. What used to be just one demand, the withdrawal of the bill, has now snowballed into 5 demands because of the evil this government has shown towards its own people. And now, 2 months on, the 5 demands have grown into an intimately intertwined package. We are 1 demand down, and we are 4 to go. We will not settle for less. The anti-extradition movement may have been triggered by the extradition bill, but it was only the last straw on top of a haystack that was already on the verge of burning. This very large haystack includes all the systematic failures and brazen lies this government has always perpetrated. A demented and shoot-to-kill police force, a white terror regime, political censorship of corporates, and the greedy jaws of the Chinese Communist Party are just debts which have been offloaded onto Hong Kongers within these 3 short months. Does the government honestly think that the trauma, grievances, and anguish they have caused can be so easily dismissed by 2 syllables, expecting the word withdraw to salvage all they have caused is childish and tone-deaf at best. The fact that the US Congress will resume within a few days and will continue with the reading of the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act has no doubt given the Hong Kong government a fierce kick up the backside. It is certainly no coincidence that the government has decided to make this announcement at this particular time. To this end, we are incredibly encouraged to see the impressive camaraderie between local protesters and international efforts. And international efforts is indeed an effective way to express our voices. That being said, the government has responded to only one of our 5 demands. We have also demanded that the government set up an independent commission of inquiry to release pro-democracy protesters who have been arrested, to withdraw the characterization of protests as riots, as well as the immediate implementation of dual universal suffrage. Until the day all these demands are met, Hong Kongers will not yield. In fact, with a bleak and oppressive political future ahead of us, Hong Kongers cannot afford to yield. According to a recent survey conducted by the Chinese University of Hong Kong, the respondents acknowledged the need of a fully independent investigation committee, not a part of the Hong Kong Police Force's IPCC. At 95.1%, this request is even higher than the demand of withdrawing the extradition bill at 85.9%. This is because respondents are well aware that the IPCC possesses no independence and no authority over investigations, with not even the ability to call witnesses to the stand. We have seen the riot police beating train passengers on the 31st of August. We have seen riot police beating train passengers on the 31st of August at Prince Edward Station, and Carrie Lam's proposal of adding 2 more members to the IPCC task force simply offers no help in light of the ever-intensifying police brutality. Mr. Helen Yu Lai used to be a senior consultant for Carrie Lam's election campaign 2 years ago, her previous role has us worried if she can ever be politically neutral, notwithstanding her recent comments on the movement that she deemed a fully independent investigation inappropriate in June of 2019. How can Hong Kong citizens trust the impartiality and neutrality of these two new members? What Carrie Lam has done so far is too little and far too late. We must also ask our fellow protesters, with 1,183 of us arrested, among them 67 charged with rioting, and at least 5 suicides for the cause, we have already paid a heavy price. Will our deceased companions accept this kind of withdrawal? At the beginning, we might not yet see the light of hope. Yet we believe it is not to persevere in the clear sight of hope, but to persevere to see the light of hope. Hong Kongers will not be satisfied by a partial victory, and our thirst for freedom and justice will not be quenched. 5 demands, not one less. It is not merely a slogan we yell out of our windows at 10 p.m. at night. This is the joint consensus. This is the belief and principle by which Hong Kongers abide and uphold. We look forward to the day when Hong Kongers are finally freed from fear. Then, at this very venue, we will be able to take off our masks and meet each other for the first time. One day. Liberate Hong Kong, the revolution of our times. 5 demands, not one less. Fight on, and take care, fellow Hong Kongers. Thank you.
Fight for freedom!
Stand with Hong Kong!